It's painful to say goodbye.
It's hard to say I miss you.
The time of love
Is a gruesome cruise.
I need you now, dear Lord.
Children are a very special gift that the Lord gives us. And sometimes it is difficult when we lose them. And men sometimes face this. But how do they grieve when this is a situation that has taken place in their lives? Welcome to the show, Painful Goodbyes. I am Skumbuzo Due, and today I have my brother, Anele. He's going to be leading us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Thank you, thank you. Now, people would love to know who you are as we are starting the show. Just briefly introduce yourself.
All right, my name is Anele Nganga, 43 years of age, married to my wife, Nganga. I come from a family where we got May, who is the head of the house, although the mother. Firstborn being my lovely daughter, Andiswa, followed by Tinevimbo, Ipile Nganga.
Okay.
Then lastly, we have Uilati Nganga.
Okay.
He is the last born of the family.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very beautiful names. Do you have any secret behind these names?
Okay. The first one, of course, that did not come from me. I was not part of the naming.
Okay.
But I liked the name, and I saw it fit to just allow it to be. The second one, Ipile, we were saying God has given. It was another child, a sweet gift added unto the family. So by saying Tinevimbo in Shona, it means we still got hope. Yes, that was my second born, being a girl. So my expectation again was for a third child. Yes,
Yes, okay.
That was why I said Tinevimbo.
Okay.
I had that hope of getting another child.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to think that Wimbo is faith. Now you've helped me to know it's hope. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost one and the same thing depending on application.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So the meaning is usually contextually derived depending on application.
All right.
Yes, but it's almost one and the same thing.
Thank you very much. And the last one?
Last one is Ilati.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Ilati, meaning God with us. Yes, Ilati Inkosi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe we can talk about your children. Take us through each one of them.
Okay. The first one, Andiswa, that was our first joy of the family. And she was our sweetheart for almost 5 years, being the only child in the house. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the second one, we were supposed to have a second one, but it didn't turn out well. It turned out to be Mola, which if one is to research, you'll understand what it means to have a molar pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was later terminated because there was nothing that would come out of it.
Come out.
Hence the gap of almost 5 years from
years.
the first to the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then the third one, after, I have not spoken about
Ipile,
the second one. Okay, the second one, of course, was conceived after we went through what we went through during the time of the second child who was supposed to come, would become. So when God gave us that one, we acknowledged and said, it's really God who has given us. So ipile inkosi, as in God has given us. Then the second one, because I'm married to someone from Matabeleland, and being a Shona as well, I had to speak my mind and my feelings towards the child. I still had hope for another.
Yeah.
So I said Tinevimbo. Yes, that's the two names. Sure.
Beautiful. And Ipile comes under Tinevimbo also, under the difficult circumstances. Then you came to say thank you, and we are grateful for that. And then we see that after this child, you had an expectation, and that is a sign to show that you had faith in God. And maybe talk about that as we wind the session.
All right, fine. It's normally something planted in society for whatever reason, I don't know. You know, when you got girls only in the home, the African culture, I'm not sure about other cultures, but being an African, I know what it means to have
only girls.
Only girls. So it was my hope that when I get a child, a third child in the house, this shall be a male.
Okay.
So I had that hope.
All right.
Tinevimbo.
Okay.
In much as I'm saying God has given, yes, I'm happy I have a second child. But I still got that hope, so that maybe I can have society off my shoulders.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please stay tuned. Soon after the break, we'll hear more on this story. Welcome back to the second segment of the show, Painful Goodbyes. You know, African names are very beautiful. Just before the break, you were talking about Ipile, Tinovimbo. So you gave these names because of what you were expecting.
Correct.
Yes, and then what happened after your expectation, maybe?
Okay. My wife took in. Thereafter, she fell pregnant, and it was not an easy pregnancy. She was always in and out of hospital here and there. And there was a time when we just said, let's go for a scan. We all came out joyful. The Lord had looked upon us with eyes full of favor. The hope that we had came to fruition because it was a male child that she was pregnant with. Yeah.
So tell me about your joy, how you felt when Tinovimbo came to a reality.
There are times when you hope for the sake of hoping because you have no power to change the circumstance. But when you realize that what you have been hoping for has been granted, we were both so happy. I cannot lie. Even my wife, when I looked at her holding the scan, it was just so good.
That's so good.
Yeah, so
that finally what we have been hoping for.
Yes, God has actually answered our prayer. Yes.
All right. Walk us through the fact that she was in and out of the hospital. How were your feelings like during that time as she was going in and out of the hospital?
Yeah, it was a scary moment because She was carrying that very precious soul that I was hoping we would one day both hold in the home. Yeah. It was a new that was a new member whom we also had to introduce
To the family.
to the family. No matter how early the stages were, to prepare the sisters for a brother who is coming. So in and out of hospital somehow, sometimes it was so, she would have such difficult moments that I would somehow think things might go otherwise and we lose the baby. We're always praying, strengthening each other and hoping so much in God. In much as God has granted the pregnancy to be, and also that we have the male child, then everything was in God's hands whom we trusted so much. So, of course, yes, we were scared, but we knew there was God in control. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm wondering if there is one moment that was very difficult where she went to the hospital. I know like you've highlighted that she was going back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know whether there is one moment that you can talk about that was so difficult.
It was just prior to delivery.
Okay.
She went out on duty, and her problem then, her being anemic, was low blood pressure. So we knew that she's a low blood pressure person, but at this time it went up. The whole body became swollen, and it's an avenue that we had never explored together. We didn't know how to handle that. Low blood pressure we could. We were somehow aware of what we should do to regularize the blood pressure, but with high blood pressure, it was something new. So I was so scared. Depending on severity, I knew something bad might happen. Yes. So we were just so scared. It was a bad moment. It was just prior to delivery. She was around 7 months pregnant. Yes.
Now, as a man looking at your wife go through that, what thoughts come to your mind?
Yeah, it was a tough moment. A very tough moment. Especially when you see your loved one so sick and having an ailment that you have no control over. You feel so helpless, so useless before you to just watch her going through that. Well, while you may somehow share the burden with her, but you cannot go through the pain that she's going through, the physical pain. You can't share that with her.
Yeah.
Yes. So there were days when I would really wish
I could share
that at least, that she can somehow feel better on the day. Yes, it was bad. Yeah.
So then came the day of delivery. Maybe let's talk about that day.
That day, we did not hope she would deliver on the day. But the specialist who was assisting her during the time did a few tests on her and ended up saying there is no communication between the mother and the child. Something had happened to the cord due to the high blood pressure.
Okay.
And they just had a very short period of time to separate the two. And they were saying they were not prepared they had not prepared the child enough to survive outside of the mother's womb prematurely, because it's a situation that they did not see coming. So, yeah, it was really bad. They just made a decision to do it within a very short time. I think it was a couple of hours or so. So we were so scared, and they were saying, well, there is chance that there is a high chance that the child can survive. But all that mattered then was to separate the two so that each one of them fights for his or her life alone. Yes. Yeah.
So it was an unexpected date of delivery.
Yes, very much so.
Maybe that spoke to the kind of medical attention that was supposed to be given. Maybe you can talk about that.
Okay, they were supposed to perform a cesarean section to separate the two. And they were talking of the lungs of the child being too delicate and some injections being administered to the child. Looking at the weight of the child after delivery and thinking of those needles on that, such a tiny thing.
Yeah.
It was tough. And the mother also, their blood pressure was just too high, and the whole body was swollen. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
All right. So then take us to that time that is not very beautiful. Here is the gift that we've been waiting for.
The two of them were separated. The child was taken to the ICU, put in an incubator. While they were trying to assist the mother to recover in the ward. So it was a good 3 days, nothing was wrong with the child. They were just giving us the good news that the child was progressing very well. But the recovery to the mother was so slow due to the high blood pressure. Where they had sealed the womb, the belly, it was healing slowly due to the high blood pressure. But the child was progressing very well. So on the day, they just told me, the first thing I did, visiting hour, I went to see the child first, then to the mother. The child was okay. Then I went up to the mother. When I was trying to speak to the mother, we were called downstairs to say, there is an emergency. Please come. I went down there while they wheeled the mother on a chair to come to the ICU. When we got there, they were already in the process of trying to resuscitate
the child.
The child, yes. They were already in that process. So we just watched helplessly while they tried to do what they thought would work. The efforts were really appreciated, but later it dawned to us that this was also beyond them. They didn't have any explanation of what happened. The mother was so emotional, so was I. Our joy was so short-lived. So, the mother cried so much, especially due to the fact that she had not seen the face of the child. They were separated. Yes, when she woke up from the drugs, the child was already taken to an incubator. So on the day that they told her to start expressing so that they could give her the baby, that's when death prevailed. So we were two parents standing on the side of the bed watching our child die. Yes.
That was a painful situation to see.
Very much so, yeah.
That gift and the build-up that had taken place and the hope that you had, you see it going.
Yes.
What happened to you?
Yeah, I was so much of a broken man. But now, when I thought of myself, the pain I was going through, I imagined what it could be with my wife. That emotionally, yes, she's pained much as I am. But at the same time, she's left to nurse wounds for a child that she never saw alive. The only time she saw the child first was on the deathbed when the child was already gone. So it was a very bad moment for her, for me. So imagining what other pain she was going, besides the physical pain of the wounds, there is this pain of having your child taken from you. Of course, I have had the time to see the child sit by the incubator, for hours they would allow me to. But she had not seen the baby. She had not seen the child. So that took the attention from my own pains to imagine what my wife was going through. Yeah, that tore my heart apart so much. Yeah.
So now you were if I'm hearing you very well, you were experiencing her pain. So you ignored your own pain.
I did not feel that much because I was thinking of how much pain she was bearing there. Because even before the death, she's a strong woman. But that time I could see, no, this is bad. She has taken too much on her.
Okay. Now, what have been the most difficult things that you experienced maybe soon after the loss, going to the burial and those things?
Okay. The fact that I had to bury the child alone while the mother was still battling for her life. She could not even witness the burial. So, and also this thing of the cultural belief that for such a child, so the age of the child,
yes.
Culturally people are not allowed to gather. So while not aware of so much, aware of the pain I was going through, my mind was still with the mother.
With the mother, yeah.
So I went home alone. There was nobody at home. Both my parents were late. They are late, yes. So I just had to go home, spend the night alone. Got up the following morning to check on her. While starting to prepare for the funeral, and it was the first funeral for me to handle. I knew nothing. So it was a bad moment for us. Yeah.
Wow. Sorry about that loss. Please stay tuned. Soon after the break, you will hear more. Welcome back to the show, Painful Goodbyes. I'm with my brother Anele, and he's been sharing how he buried his child alone. And then you began to grieve. I don't know how it was like, because society expects you to grieve differently from women. Maybe let's talk about that.
All right. Yeah, it's actually a belief that our society has. But I think the same, I've seen men crying. And the same people that tell you not to cry as a man and be strong. When the same thing happens to them, you find them crying. Naturally, I believe our systems were meant to take crying as a remedy. Because most men do not cry. They don't allow themselves to cry. Healing takes too long. And this thing of society expecting a young woman and a young man not to cry when they lose a child because they are expecting you to have another child. So they say it may interfere with your chances to have a child. It's a belief.
It's a belief, yeah.
Which I think must not be tolerated because no one is told how to grieve. We grieve differently. It's good to allow yourself to grieve. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and then you highlighted the issues of this that come from the society. I don't know, in your experience, or maybe what happened to others, Are there words that were said that may have harmed you during that time?
Okay, considering what had happened during the previous pregnancies, we sat down and I told my wife that there is nothing that we have asked from God which He has not given us. He has given us 2 beautiful daughters and a son. Then death prevailed. So there is nothing that your womb has not given me. So let's keep our girls.
Okay.
But society now is still expecting a male child. So the more they nag sometimes, knowing very well that if you walk through the same valley, chances are that you will lose your loved one. Yes, so sometimes the words society say to you may not allow you to heal from the death or the loss of a loved one in the shortest possible time. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you say what you've actually said is that maybe society may push you to a place that you may later regret because you are trying to fulfill the societal expectations.
Correct.
Now, then what becomes your source of strength in such situations?
Okay, I will not speak about others, but personally, the relationship that I had with my wife, and we still enjoy to this day. We talk, we open our hearts one to another. We share the grief, we share the sorrow, we share the joys. So we have been a pillar one to another of support. And also some relatives and even workmates, there are some that have come to speak positively to our hearts during the grief. Those people helped us actually to somehow get remedy, get a healing. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And then what would be your final words or words of comfort to someone who is going through this, maybe a similar kind of a loss or maybe a different loss altogether? What would be your words to strengthen?
Okay, all I can say from my own experience through this is that God Himself allows us to go through such for reasons known to Him. But whatever God does to us is there to benefit us somehow. Something good may come out of the loss. And since I had spoken to my wife and said, let's keep our girls, in my case, when all that man can put in place not to conceive, when the time was right, my wife took in, and God replaced our joy with a male child again.
Right.
So I'm saying there is hope during and after grief. Yeah, for all that may go through the same, our God is faithful. Yeah.
Thank you for the beautiful words that you have shared with us, and thank you for staying tuned to this program. For me, Skumbuzo Dube, and the crew behind the scenes, it's a wrap.